Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken can take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars and the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Aggression in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. Live and loud, that break in the mind. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploding like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, they're a force can't fight. From sports to politics.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Hey, good morning. What's a little feedback there? There we go. Good morning, everyone. And wow, hey, good morning, Mitch. What up, though? Bears rule, Lions drool. Let's get that correct. Hey, we got some news on a June 9th morning, which last June, Ken, man, at this point, we were like going, please, someone do something. We're like that little stick figure with the stick, poking the NFL, like, do something. Well, I'll start with your news. I'll go with your news second. And let me start with the other news first to drop first. The first big news out of the weekend is the Texans have a new running back, it appears. Nick Chubb is going to sign a contract pending a physical with the Texans, which kind of doesn't upset me, but I wish the Bears might have done that, but that's okay. That was one news. And then the bigger news, of course, for Ken is, the guy they all say is lights out, shut down, no one can pass on him. That's the reason why the defense is so great. Well, okay, I'm overselling that. Anyways, the Packers cut Jair Alexander and saved a bunch of money.
Yeah, I was totally wrong about that one. I might have been right about the Rodgers shit, but I was totally wrong here. From everything I was hearing from the Packers and Alexander, it sounded like they were working on it and it was getting there. But when it came out of the contract they offered him, that was massively low, that was really incentive-laden, I can kind of see why he said, fuck Green Bay, because we're trying to claw every last penny we can back.
Does he have 2 years left on his current deal? Or didn't he have 2 years?
I think it was technically he did, but I think the other one was like one of the team options or void or some stupid thing like that.
On this case, I'm siding with management. As unpopular as that may be for some people out there, I'm siding with Packer management because here's why. You gave Jair Alexander the big contract because he had played worth it. And at the time, you made him the highest paid or one of the highest paid at the position. And then he got paid, production didn't just fall off. Good morning, Eric. 3 minutes, that's 3 diamonds elevated, please. Just trying to keep Eric healthy. And I know he's reeling from the news. That's why he's late. So never mind, you get a pass this morning. Anywho, so you signed Jair to all this money, right? Big money contract. Look, he earned it. All of a sudden, production falls. And it's not like it just fell like a little bit. No, it fucking came off a cliff. Right now, games.
That's because he was missing time. That wasn't his play on the field. His play on the field was still damn good.
That's what I was about to say. It's, I'm not 100%, so I can't go. Oh, my pinky toe hurts, so I can't go. Oh, I'm going to go be the team captain today. It was all those other little things that Jair did after he signed the contract. And some of it may be legit, right? But some of it, come on, man, was like, even Packer fans like, dude, come on, man. Just stop right out there playing captain. Stop being a disruptor in the locker room.
Yeah, the captain shit, there was zero excuse for when literally all he would have had to have done is said, hey, LaFleur, I'd like to be captain for this game. Yeah. And everything would have been cool. He just figured, I'm Alexander. What are they going to do to me? Bench me? And he found out.
I cost too much money for them to cut. So he did some stupid shit. And his production isn't where it was before. So for the Packers, I agree with them. Like, dude, I'm not giving you the truck. Like, I'm going to give you a nice contract that will become even nicer if you meet these incentives. Like, if you actually play and do what I'm paying you for this time. Instead, he says, nah. And they said, all right, well, here, hold our beer. Why? Because you're cut. So now comes the question. Where does he go next?
I can see him going full asshole and taking a page out of Aaron Jones' book and going fucking purple. God, I hate to say that, but I can see him doing something like that.
Go Bears!
No, God, no. He wants to win.
Dude, I'm sorry. Packer fans, y'all need to have a little wake-up call. You guys talk like the Bears have no roster. They do. They're going to win. In fact, their last game was a win.
Your mic's doing it. I can't hear you.
Exactly.
No.
Packer fans, no, but it fit perfectly. Packer fans need to understand the Bears can win. Our last game against you was a win. They can win. They have the roster. You guys talk like, oh, no, he wants to win. Dude, they're going to win with or without Jair in Chicago. If he were to go to Chicago, you could say that would just increase their winning capabilities even more.
Or could it increase the dysfunction for the stuff you brought up against him when he was in Green Bay?
So that argument, though, just needs to go the way of the dinosaur and die to a degree, okay? Now, as far as Jair,
you don't tell us if it does.
I think here's what happens with Jair Alexander with his next signing. This is a wake. Look at, and Bears fans, listen to me here when I say this, because this applies to us as well as to Lions fans and Vikings fans. When a player like Jair Alexander gets cut, and then we say, oh, well, no one's going to sign him now because he's got all these issues, right? He's a head case in the locker room. Look at the stuff I just said, which Ken and I both agreed on. Hold on a second. Couldn't tell you, Brent. This is a football show, and I don't watch Detroit Tigers baseball. Sorry. Anywho, more times than not, when these guys go elsewhere, they're fine. They clean it up because for Jair Alexander, this too was a wake-up call. So one of two things happens. Either they fix their shit with the next place they go, or they become Antonio Brown. One of the two, right? It's either or. So he won't get a big contract, right? He won't get a big contract. I'll say that. No one's going to throw the Brinks truck at him, right? And now he's going to get what he hated, an incentive-laden contract. Because now teams are like, look, I'll give you 15 mil, right? Or 10 mil base. And then I'm going to give you another 10 or 15 mil in incentives because you just got cut by the Green Bay Packers. So what makes you think I'm going to just back up the Brinks truck to you? So the one thing Jair didn't want is what he's going to have to live with now. Or
he was going to have a prove-it year, whether it was with us or somebody else. But Goody pissed him off enough to where he said, I'll take my prove-it year somewhere else.
Yeah.
Goody did the same shit with Alexander that he did with Devontae.
Oh, you gotta love this. Lions fans. God, I love you guys. Good morning, Nicholas. Good morning. I think Jair will end up somewhere. Look could he do the all right, Packers, F you some more, and I'm gonna go to a team in the division? Yeah. I think, if I'm Goody, if I'm Holmes, if I'm Poles, I'm kicking the tires. All three of those guys will kick the tires. The Packers are on the hook for money, man. He had 2 years left on his deal.
Yeah, it's because of it happening after June 1st. It's not an insane amount of money.
There's still a few million.
Absolutely. It's just not one of those that's going to be, oh my God, we got to actually plan around this. This actually freed up a little bit of money for us.
Let me find it. I can tell you exactly. Thank you, A-Dub. Let me see. The Packers saved $17.117 million in cap, while taking on $7.5 million in 2025 dead cap and $9.5 of dead cap in 26. He's 28 years old. Last recorded 16 tackles, 15 solo, 1 fumble recovery, 2 picks, with 1 being returned for a touchdown, and 7 pass blocks in 7 games last season. He missed most of the year with a lingering knee injury. So, yeah. Look, he's not going to – his stats for the few games he played were nice. Yeah, Baltimore, watch him go there.
Yeah, I'd be totally okay with him going to Baltimore.
Oh, good morning, Cam. You better shield your base and hide your miners because we're at war, buddy. He knows what I'm talking about. Bill, Kansas City will be on the list. Sure. I think there'll be a lot of teams on the list. And I think every team in the NFC North is on the list. I think the whole NFL is on the list for the most part. There might be a few teams who aren't because they're just not in a position where adding Jair really pushes the needle enough for them. But if you look,
and I expect Jair's not going to want to go to anybody that's not a playoff contender.
Well, I mean, look, he's going to look all 3 teams in the division, the other 3 teams in the division. In the East, the Giants are a possibility because that defense is fucking good.
If they added him, their defense would be stellar.
The Commanders are a spot. Obviously, the Eagles are a spot. Look, if the money's right, the Niners are a spot. The Rams are a spot. Broncos, Chargers, Dolphins, yeah, all of those are spots. The Raiders are a possibility even. They're going to be competitive this year. I think you're not in it teams. That list is very small. Indianapolis is probably that there. Carolina could be on his list because Carolina has improved.
Not for that reason, because I'm not arguing that they have improved or not. I'm saying for the whole fact of he's a hometown boy.
That too. The Texans could be on the list. The Dolphins, yeah, they could. So now, yeah, it's I like Zach Tom Dorn, and you know that I've met the kid before he got drafted. He's a good guy. I think Zach Tom should get paid because he's been nothing but solid for you guys, and he's a good kid. Arizona could definitely use him, but I don't know if Arizona's on the list. They might. I think they'd be more like a tweener team, to be honest, Mike, because the Rams and the Niners are class of that division right now, even with the Niners' dysfunctionality. And Arizona is a quagmire, right? And I don't know if adding Alexander pushes them into the playoffs or into the division title. They could definitely use him, but I don't know if Alexander would go there. Yeah, and we said this early, right before you got on, Bill. The Texans are poised to sign him. You haven't signed him yet. He's got past the physical, but that was a good deal for them. They got a little bit better. If Chubb is even half of what he was, they got better.
Yeah, I gotta assume that Chubb's gonna pass the physical since he played last year.
Well, he got hurt again last year, but his workout tapes are looking good. I think he's gonna pass the physical and be fine. I was hoping the Bears would take the flyer on him. Maybe J.K. Dobbins. It looks like he might be signing is one of the teams.
He might be signing where?
Denver.
Hmm.
Denver, there are 3 or 4 teams.
Don't the Texans also have Mixon?
Yep.
They do.
So then, yeah, Mixon and Chubb. It's a good little combination there.
And yeah.
Jair Alexander to the Raiders, I could see that happening.
So couldn't I.
So couldn't I.
Hey, I wouldn't be against Alexander going to the fucking Raiders. As long as he's outside the division, I won't have any ill will for him.
Hey, I like this comment from Brent, true Lions fan. I like what he called Brad Holmes, Dollar General Brad.
I don't know if I want him on the Raiders. Like he's there, but I just know like we're gonna have to give up a lot for him and then pay him a whole bunch of money, and then he's gonna turn around and just get hurt.
He's free.
I don't think he's going to cost a shit ton of money.
Well, I don't know, Joe. You missed it early. The Packers cut him. He's free. You just got to pay him a contract. You're not giving up anything to get him. He's free.
Oh,
he's my.
We just cut him early this morning.
He's my favorite price.
Crazy.
He's my favorite.
Why did they?
He's
why
my
would they
favorite
cut him?
$399, $19.90 free, $420 free, $380 free. They cut him because they were in an impasse about his future contract. To answer your question, and then Joe Pros. Look at me like, dude, Ken, just let me say what I want to say.
No, you don't get to say what you want to say.
You're gonna wait. No, but they cut him. This is what happens when you get here. They cut him because of contract. So I mean, he's free. $19.90 free, $440 free, $390 free. Free. I think, Bill, you might be right there. Let's see if Joe unfreezes.
Yeah, and the Raiders do have some cap space, dude. So
hey, even Dollar General Brad has some cap space.
I would say Alexander's not a locker room issue with the guys. With the players, he gets along great with them. It's management that he seems to have the issue with.
I wonder if he could get along with Pete Carroll.
I wonder if he can get along with the Steelers.
I wouldn't be against it.
I've never heard of anybody having a problem with Mike Tomlin.
Mike Bear Down Mike brings up, like Rodgers may want him, and you know what? That I think it's going to happen. It's not going to have to be a team with no morals, like Ken said. Like he gets along with players fine. He doesn't get along with management when it comes to his contracts. And look at, like I said though too, this is a wake up call not just for Packer fans this morning that Jair got cut, but for Jair. He played the game. He just lost. Now he's going to pay the price for it. His contract this year, look, he's got guaranteed money still coming. So he's got that. But his next contract, this contract he's going to sign with whoever, is not going to be what he wanted for Green Bay. He's going to get less. Because now he's got that mark on him, that tarnish on him. He's blemished. He's got chinks in the armor. And teams are like, look, dude, you only played 7 games last year, and no, you're not getting $30 million like the top paid guys. We'll give you $10 million and a bunch of incentives so you can prove it to us that you're going to be worth that money. The Packers already gave you a big payday because you were worth the money then, and look what happened. Injury row. Oh, but it doesn't matter. It's not your fault. Your production still went down. Then you get a lot of this. The mouth was moving at 1,000,000 miles per hour, but you weren't on the field. So Jair's going to get a smaller contract. And I think about 20 teams in the league are kicking the tires right now.
It's definitely.
But does that 20 teams being interested drive up the price to where, like you get a little bidding war and Jair ends up winning again? That's the question.
No, I don't think. I don't mean to say no, like that'll never happen, but no, I don't because they're kicking the tires. It doesn't mean they're offering contracts. They're calling it when I say kicking the tires. They're calling. Hey, so what's he looking for? They're calling the agents, right? They're calling the agent. Hey, what's he looking for? Okay, thanks. Oh, you interested? Yeah.
But after the kicking the tires phase, I really think there's going to be at least 5 to 10 teams that are going to be serious about him, and so you create the possibility that they want to outbid each other for his services. And then, of course, if it gets too high, where it's like looking at paying him what he was in Green Bay, then we'll drop out. But
yeah, I agree
think
with that. I could see a minor bidding war, like and then once it gets around 12 to 15 mil, they're like deuces. We'll let someone else pay it. I don't think anyone really wants to pay that much. And let's face it, a lot of teams don't have. A lot of teams don't have that allocated in their cap space at this point of the season, right? I mean, some teams do have the money they could do that with, like Dollar Store Brad could do it. He's got the money. Quezzy does not have the money. Poles does not have that kind of money. Poles has a rough 14 million or so, almost 15 mil, we'll call it, in cap space for this season. Could he spend 10 mil of it on
Honestly,
Jair?
that makes me. The Lions have like 40 million in cap space, and does Jair say, hey, like, does Jair say, hey, fuck the Packers, like I want to go and
Yeah.
He does fit the mold of a Brad Holmes guy. He has been injured quite a bit, so Holmes is probably on that phone. Hey, Alexander, I know you got quite the injury history there.
John, the 7th is a throwaway pick. No one cares about losing their 7th round pick if that's there's compensation, but I don't think it's compensation because, well, you cut him. He's not a free agent. You cut him, which means there is.
I could see Detroit needing a player for him, especially because Detroit needs help in the secondary anyway. I could
Why
see
do
Detroit.
you hate me, Joe?
I don't. Has nothing to do with you, Ken. I'm just pointing out the fact.
So Jair is a true corner, right? So you look at, like, they could use a corner. The Vikings could use a corner. The Bears, not so much, but could you imagine Jalen Johnson, Jair Alexander, Brisker, and I hate my brain fart, but dude, yeah, even if you want to say you could move safety, it doesn't matter. I mean, that Bears secondary would be just stupid insane. So like I think all three teams in the North are in play on Jair Alexander.
Oh, we didn't need him to save the defense because the defense performed well without him last year, but he would have been a huge addition to have.
Oh, wait a minute.
Man, how much more injured do you want the guy? Does he got to be in a fucking medically induced coma?
Pretty much.
I mean, I see him going to any. He could go to any one of the teams in the North could use him. I mean, yeah, I get maybe why the Packers did it, but I also don't get why the Packers did it. But you could be looking at because he's a true corner, right?
Oh yeah.
So you could be looking at Jalen Johnson on one side, right? Jair Alexander on the other, which puts Stevenson on the bench, which makes Bears fans happy, and then Byard and Brisker at safety.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the Packers, though. Like, I mean, I get that you don't, you don't want to keep paying him because he's not proven it. But like, if you would have just got serious about trading him, somebody would have gave you something. Like, if you would have just put it out there, like, no, he's on the block, he's absolutely on the block, and we're trying to get this done. Somebody would have floated you a 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick for him, and you would have got something, and you would have got to.
Shit, Dorn and I were okay with keeping him at the contract he was at for this year. We're already so far along in the process. It was already factored in. Why the hell not just keep him at that point?
So before Mike say this, and that's fine. Mike obviously hates it because I like it, and that's fine. But let me just throw this out there. Imagine facing this nickel. Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Jair Alexander, Brisker, and Byard. There's your 5. There's your 3 corners and your 2 safeties. And Byard had a great year last year. Dude, I'm sorry. You don't want to face that. You just don't want to face that. That's a really
that's what we were setting up in Green Bay all the way until Goody decided, hey, those 5 pennies are worth way too much, man.
If he's healthy, Mike, and he's playing, yeah, we need him. If he's healthy, dude, did you hear the stat line I gave for the 7 games he played last year? Right? He only played 7.
That was the whole point of why Packer fans were arguing to keep him. Because, yeah, he missed a lot of time, but he was great when he was there.
In 7 games, 16 solo, 1 fumble recovery, 2 picks with 1 being a pick 6. 7 pass blocks in 7 games. That's a phenomenal stat line. So I get why he's like, dude, I'm worth all this money. I also get why the Packers say, no, dude, you're not. Yeah, you were really good for 7 games, but the other 10, where were you? Right? So, look, I don't care. Dude, I have a memory of not caring in this league. You got to have a memory of not caring in this league. How many times have guys trash talked about a team when they were on one team and then became a free agent and signed with that team? It happens all the time, right? There's no evidence he can stay healthy. Well, there's no evidence that you are going to get up in the morning, yet you still do. I mean, look at Jair could be healthy, right? He could be injury prone. We'll find out. I think for him, this is a wake-up call. I think a lot of his injury thing was more in this last year. I'm not 100%, so I'm not going to go. That's what we were hearing from Packer fans.
There's been a lot of rumors that came out after the season ended that he wanted to get surgery done in season, and Green Bay wanted him to try to see if it would heal on its own so he'd be back faster. And that's why we had all that up and down with him last year.
And look I'm not going to let him be healthy somewhere else if I can sign him for a song, and he's going to improve my team if he plays. And so I would say if he's, depending on the money, once again, depends on the money. If the money is right, yeah, I think the Bears would take a flyer on him, even though some guys like Mike are like, no. Yeah, because if he's healthy, dude, I'm sorry. You put him in that defensive backfield with Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon, you're not putting Tyreek Stevenson on the bench, is what you're doing. Which you would think would make Bear Down Mike happy because he hates Tyreek Stevenson. So now you get to put Tyreek Stevenson on the bench, replace him with a player who is calibers above him when healthy. And so now, even if he's not healthy all the time, you still got Tyreek Stevenson. Now look you're having to see Tyreek Stevenson. So if you just limited having to see Tyreek Stevenson, who some Bear fans really just can't stand, even if he only plays with, say, 10 games, that's 10 games you don't have to see Tyreek. Yep, we mentioned that at the top of the show. Broski, unfortunately, he won't be coming to Chicago. They didn't. Yeah, that's okay. But no, Jair, look, I think every team in the North is kicking the tires. I think all 3 teams, if the money is right, would take the flyer on them. I think any team that's in playoff contention and has any kind of need or contention for a corner, which is well basically everyone. Yeah. Should they go to get Jalen right? What now?
Doran, I am so with you on that. Hearing all these Packer fans sit here talk about, now we can go out and get Jalen Ramsey. He's a worse caliber player at this point in his career, and he's much more of a locker room distraction. To me, that's just getting worse. You should have kept Alexander if that's what you're going to do.
And that would cost the Packers. The Packers aren't going to do it. They have to trade for him. They're not going to cut Jair to trade for Jalen. I don't see it happen. It's a pretty decent Bears show that's talking about Packers. Thank you, Bill. We appreciate it. I mean, look at Jair.
I don't think the Packers are really interested in Jalen Ramsey, because if they were, they could have. I'm sure they could have worked out some sort of corner for corner deal with Jair and Jalen Ramsey. Like the Dolphins would have been happy to have,
So
they get something like that.
Curveball. Does this put the Packers in the mix to try to trade for Trey Hendrickson now they freed up all the cap space?
God, why did you have to fucking mention that, Ken? Now we're gonna be hearing, Trey Hendrickson's coming to Green Bay, this, that, and the other.
Feel my pain.
I don't care enough about Trey Hendrickson's old ass to want to give up that much for him. He's a damn good player and all, but
yeah, I don't think Goody would spend it, but that's going to be the rumor mill now. You got all this cap space, got to spend it on something.
Exactly, and that's exactly why I phrased it the way I did when you brought it up.
But it raises an interesting question, like, what are the Packers going to do at corner now? Like, are you just going to start one of the guys under Jair?
Joe,
what it'll be is Nixon will be the outside starting corner, and Kerryon Valentine will be the other one with
And
Hobbs
Joe-
in the slot.
And Joe, following Packer logic, there'll be zero drop off because everyone on the Packers is an All Pro.
I'm glad you finally fucking understand, Ken. It took you all this time. The last horse finally crosses the finish line.
You know, I mean, he's better. In fact, they'll say that guy is better than Jair Alexander. But look, the Packers played 10 games last year, and they did relatively well without him. Sure, he was value added when he was in, but they survived without him. So, I mean, I think that's part of their, their thought too.
And it's not only us speculating and saying that. Goody made that a part of his official statement.
So,
Like, I couldn't believe he came.
they're all pros?
We're already used to being without him. What?
Damn.
Oh yeah, Goody's an asshole.
So look, though, I think Alexander, for him, it's a wake-up call. I think now he'll be more willing to play injured than he was before, because that was part of the rub. Well, I'm not 100%, so I'm not going to go. And look, he did have a valid argument if what Ken said is correct, that he wanted to have surgery and the team said no, because we want you to come back now. He's like, no, let me heal it properly. We've seen that argument between management and players in the past. I don't know why they don't listen to players, because that situation never goes the way management wants. Either the player gets hurt further, or it destroys your relationship between the player and the team, and the guy ends up being gone because he ends up getting hurt more anyway. Just let the dude get the surgery. You lose him for the rest of the season. Now you gain him for the next 3 or 4, whatever. I don't know why we know why they do it, but still, it's like, so yeah, there's Jair is going to end up somewhere, and I don't think it's going to take long. Before camp, maybe even before the next round of OTAs, which is like another 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So don't be surprised if you hear about Jair Alexander signing relatively quickly, and don't be surprised if it's within the division. I mean, honestly, even though Kwesi doesn't have the money, crazy Kwesi finds ways to make things work, right? So that's not the issue. Teams will find the cap space.
Let him just go to Baltimore.
I think
he'll still get his point to where he gets to play the Packers and that this year. Just fucking take that. I don't need to see this guy in my division.
Or go to Pittsburgh. You can go to Pittsburgh or to another. I mean, that you'll get to see the Packers this year or any NFC East team. So yeah, he's probably looking first and foremost at the North. Then he's looking at the NFC East, and then he's looking this year at least at the AFC North. I think those would be the 3 divisions, the 12 team or the 11 teams he's looking at. Well, maybe more like 10 teams. There's probably a team in there. He's probably not. But yeah.
I don't know, man. If I was Jair Alexander, I want to win Super Bowls. So I'm giving Kansas City a call. I'm like, you know what I mean?
He's in the mix too. But look, if you're a playoff team, you're a Super Bowl contending team, right? So if you look at the North, the East, and the North. Well, first off, he'll go to any one of the teams in the North, just play the Packers twice a year, and all 4 teams are potential playoff teams. So he might be the guy who crosses that team to the bridge, across that bridge. You never know. If you look at the NFC East, obviously the Eagles just won it. The Commanders went to the NFC Championship game last year, and the Giants already have a phenomenal defense, and you got Russ as quarterback, so they're probably on the up and could be in that mix. And if you add Jair Alexander, that defense gets even better if he's playing, right? So that's there. If you look at the AFC North, well, shit, the Bungles need anything would be a massive improvement. If they get him, maybe now they don't try to trade Hendrickson even more. Because now you've got a guy who led the league in sacks up front, and you got Alexander in the back. That could be pretty good. If you look at the Steelers, already have a really good defense. He likes their quarterback. That makes sense. If you look at the Ravens, they're obviously a Super Bowl contender. I mean, right there, you've got all those teams. The only team that you're not considering there is the Browns and the Panthers. Those are the only 2 teams you're not considering. Wait, the Panthers are in the South. Who's the other team in the AFC East? I forgot.
The Cowgirls.
The Cowgirls, yeah, the Cowgirls could be a possibility too.
I don't know if he'd want to go there with how much of a question mark that they are is a total team. They're so up and down, and then if part of it's that you want to play the Packers, you want to play for a team that they don't have a massive losing streak against.
Read the comment there.
I already did.
So I've been looking like any one of these teams are possibly even the Cowboys look at the Cowboys like this choke car set, but the players they look at it different and they look at the guys in the roster. They look at maybe some of the changes that happened there. Alexander, yeah, and hey, Green Bay, you think you're going to beat the Cowboys again? Wait till I go down there. So like I said, it's a destination, it's a possibility. So there are more than a few teams that he's going to look at, and it's not really what he's going to look at. It's more about what teams are going to be willing to sign him at this point. The tables are.
What about the Chargers? I mean, they're looking to take that division. Like that's another option. The Raiders,
the Chiefs, Denver. I mean, like I said, there's probably 20, 25 teams that are real possibilities for him, and about maybe 10 teams, 8 to 10 teams that are not.
I think Denver might be out only because they're already their secondary is already really good. Like they're kind of building a second no-fly zone, so they might be the only one that's we don't really need them. But
the Bears have a really good secondary with what they've got. The weak point is Tyreek Stevenson. A lot of teams would sign Tyreek Stevenson. Bears fans don't like him. Last year was his second year in the league, and they don't like him. Not because of what he does on the field. Normally, they don't like him because of what happened in D.C., which had absolutely zero impact on the play itself. That being said, you add him with Brisker and Johnson and Gordon and Byard, Chicago could have a no-fly zone, right?
Yeah.
So I mean. Jair, there are a couple teams where he could. Thank you, Bill. There are a couple teams where Jair could go where they could create a no-fly zone if they've already have 2 or 3 other guys there.
I was gonna say shit with how good of a caliber corner that Alexander is. If he can stay healthy, you just pair him with one other good defensive back, and that's going to massively improve your secondary.
The Jets. Look at the Jets. If you add him to the Jets, they could have a no-fly zone back there.
Yeah,
they got some the talent on their defense, and you got Sauce back there. Now you have Jair and
Ken, I know you're because it's the Jets, but him and Sauce would be a damn good corner.
That would be a great duo, but I still don't think they'd win many games there just because the Jets are fucking cursed.
Yeah, I don't disagree with. They would have the best. They would have one of the best secondaries in the league, though.
I would be cool if he went to Buffalo.
Well, it's not. No one cares if you'd be cool if he went there. You don't get a say.
Yeah. No, I thought these NFL general managers were going to call me up. Hey, is it okay if we sign Alexander?
You mean they don't call you? They call me all the time.
Hey, Ken. You know, I might be the Rodgers fan, but I think you've been drinking too much of the ayahuasca.
Dude, I don't know. I think Jair to Buffalo makes a lot of sense, too.
Now we found out what Ken's fucking using for creamer in his coffee.
That's right.
Because what's been Buffalo's problem when it comes down to winning the AFC Championship is they always give up that late play, dude. Makes sense.
Kind of my point.
New England.
Ooh, that'd be another good one.
Mm-hmm.
Jair Alexander, look to go to what Bear Down Mike was saying, why he doesn't want him in Chicago. That's going to be the reaction of a fan for team insert whatever team here. Because look, he only played 7 games last year. So Bear Down Mike, automatic response is, oh hell no, I don't want this guy. He's injury, blah 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 blah. Okay, fine. There's going to be a guy in Pittsburgh who's like that. There's going to be a guy in New England who's like that. There's going to be a guy in Baltimore like that. There's going to be a guy in every team that's going to be like Bear Down Mike in the fan base. Let him get paid somewhere else. Let him go somewhere else. He's injury prone. And it's not a bad argument at all. It is a legit argument, right? Legit argument.
Mhm.
But guess what? GMs don't give a shit what we think.
No,
And
if they think that he's going to make your team better, they're going to go for it.
And they think, hey, even if I get this guy for, let's say, 10 games, okay, because I've got other pieces. If he fits
If the
my-
money fits.
Yep. So I look at. I don't care. Jeremy's like, oh, he's not going to go to the Bears. Really? How do you know, Jeremy? What's your crystal ball? Because last year when the Packers cut a certain running back, he's not going anywhere in the division. Within 4 hours,
No. I knew that one was going to be a full fucking fuck you to the Packers at that point.
Yep.
Yeah, Nick, we're fully on the same page here because believe you know from the conversations we've had that I didn't want Alexander going, and I unfortunately could see him becoming a Viking.
He could. I think all the other three teams in the division are all in play. All three teams, even guys like Bear Down Mike, you may not want to hear it, but guess what? The Bears are kicking the tires. They're making a phone call.
Oh yeah, Nick, we're gonna have a hell of a show Wednesday.
I mean, if
I also think the Raiders like, and I'm not even saying that I'm like 100% like I want them to do that, but they need a corner. They have the money, and they've been known to overpay before. So I think like if it comes down to a bidding war, that the Raiders would stay in it longer than a lot of other teams.
I think the Bears' interest would be as much. Look, I think the Bears are fine. We don't need him. Would he be value added? Sure, if the price is right. I think that's Poles is like picks up the phone. He's going to call the agent. What are you guys looking for? Okay, great. Well, the agent said, well, what were you thinking? And Poles will give him a number, which won't be high. And Jair Alexander will be like, yeah, even though you want to stick it back to the Packers, that's okay, thanks. And the Lions might give a bigger number, or the Vikings. I mean, I think that's about as far as what it goes with the Bears. I don't think he's going to be in Chicago, but wouldn't it be something if he was? When you look at the secondary they've already got in place, Minnesota could definitely use him more, and so could Detroit. Both definitely could use him more. So I mean, the Bears' interest is going to be surface level. They're not going to be one of those teams that's going to go much deeper unless Poles really thinks Tyreek Stevenson's trash, and I don't think he does. Tyreek Stevenson's a good corner, right? Yeah, the Bears are fine. I agree with you, Nick, but it does. But I think they would be stupid not to check in on it. Just what Jonathan said, and he is going to kick the tires because if you can get him at a decent price or a discount because he just wants to stick it to Green Bay, you add more quality to your team if you can at a cheap price.
Well, this is where I hope Joe's prediction of the Raiders being in a bidding war for him comes up to fruition.
I think that look, I think the AFC West is a very strong destination spot for them. There aren't many places that aren't. I think maybe you got 5 to 8 teams who just have no shot in the world and won't even pick up a phone because their team just isn't good, and he's not going to go there regardless. Because
you mean he's not going to sign with the Saints tomorrow?
No, because they're just not good. Like, yeah, thank you. Like, Saints is one of those teams. Like, they're just dysfunctional right now. It's like this is not the time for them. But like the Giants, people are like, oh, the Giants suck. The Giants have a phenomenal defensive line. He would be value added, and they're going to threaten in that division because of their defense. And they added Russ. Say what you will, Russ is going to probably translate an extra win out of them. And they had a good young rookie wide receiver last year, and they have a pretty good setup. So like there aren't but like the Colts, yeah, they're pretty much probably out of it. The Saints are probably not going to be relevant in conversations or make a phone call, but I think there are a lot more people. And that's a good question, Mike. Is he chasing the ring of the money? Probably the second, not the first.
You had said earlier that you thought the Browns were out, like because of their quarterback situation. But if he was to go to the Browns, that defense would be Ridiculous, dude. That defense might drag the Browns to the playoffs. Just the defense alone. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying the Browns are 100% out. Like, if you look at the chance to play with Myles Garrett and all the stars they got on that defense, who knows, man?
The Browns might be like the 06 Bears to a degree, dragging the offense, kicking and screaming into the playoffs. Yeah, I mean,
dude,
that's why. I mean,
and they give up. I'm sure they give up a pretty penny to have Jair too.
So I mean, I think he would want to stay in the North just to stick it to the Packers.
God, I hope not.
But it doesn't seem like this was a happy party, and the way this played out over the last year or so, seems like there's a lot of animosity, and when players get a lot of animosity, they look at a way to stick it.
Yeah,
whether it costs them money or not, they're going to stick it to the old team.
Yeah, and I think what furthers the point along that this might have been an unhappy divorce is look at all the positive stuff we were getting coming all up to this, and this kind of almost came out of left field. Like Alexander was offended with the contract offer that they gave him. He said, all right, no, I'm done.
I mean, look, at this point, too, he's made enough money. This is the weird part. This is the part I never get. So, hey, Ken, I offered you 30 mil. I offered you 20 mil with 15 mil in incentives. You were like, what disrespectful thing you did to me. This is so disrespectful, blah, 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 blah. All right, well, fine, fuck you, we're parting ways. Okay, fine, fuck you, we're parting ways. Then Joe walks and goes, hey, I'll give you 10 mil plus incentives, but we're in the same division of Ken's team. I'm there, man, let's go. It's like, dude, he's paying you like tens of millions of dollars less than what you just told me to F off over. Really?
I'll tell you one thing, though. If he does go in the division, the first time he picks Jordan Love off, he's going to be insufferable, dude.
Oh, you fucking know it.
Oh, man.
But I don't get that. Like, they're going to cost too much. Like, because you want $30 million with our team, they take $10 million to play with the division.
But here's one question, and I don't know how much this actually will. I don't know how much this actually will play into it, but him and Justin Jefferson have had quite the beef for a little while now. Does he really go to the Vikings and become his teammate?
I would love to be a fly on the wall if that happens. Because, yeah, they'll get along for a little bit. But you know, at least from Alexander and from what I've seen a bit from JJ, they seem to hold a bit of a grudge. So that would just be waiting to boil over.
Don't we have precedent for this where guys were trash talking because they were on the opposite side of the ball and then eventually become teammates and they were fine? I think that happens a lot in this league.
Yeah, but
it could happen there, like
where they're fighting too.
I mean, think about it. They're going to make each other better. Practicing against each other all the time, they're going to make each other better, dude. So maybe they become the best of friends because it's like just that competitive war between them, dude. Who knows?
No, Joe was 100% on point, man. I agree with that because it's like
I don't really see that though. I see them having beef, and I think that's I don't know. It's petty on both sides, so I think that they would like petty on both sides. JJ's made some comments. Jair's made some comments.
Yeah, like, I mean that's what you do but look at when you're playing for your flag, your team, you're like that. You're competitive because your team is the best team. The other team sucks. We're great. You're garbage. That's how it goes. And then now they're on the same team, now under the same flag. They're fighting for the same reason. That beef drops. We see it all the time.
Yeah.
The
but
beef
you also see teams blow up over that stuff too.
What now, Ken?
I see you also see teams blow up over that stuff too, because that type of animosity reverberates through the locker room.
That's usually where it's like, well, the defense is pulling the weight, the offense needs to do more kind of situations. I mean, you don't see it where these guys who talk a lot of smack and have beef because they play for division rivals and then join the same team, destroy a team. Usually they become really good friends, and that team improves historically speaking. So, I mean, and I don't think it's in Quezzy's mind either. Quezzy's like, if I can get this guy for the right price and improve my secondary, and now, iron sharpens iron at practice, win-win.
I think all it takes is for one of those two to make a comment to the other on the practice field, and they're throwing hands.
I can see it.
Yep.
I can see it.
I mean, to a point, sure, to a point. some point, it's like, look, we're
What's
on the
up,
same
buddy?
team. What's up, brother? And at some point, though, it's like they're on the same team. I think, look, these guys are professionals. So, like, obviously, like, if Quezzy were to sign him, that's what he would expect out of both men.
How professional would you say Alexander is with some of his past antics?
But see, that's where
He's known to throw some of that professionalism out the window to have a good
that's
time.
going to be reflected now in whatever contracts he gets offered from other teams, though. This is part of his wake-up call. I can't be acting the fool like I was in Green Bay. And we see it like it's going to go one of two ways. You either become Antonio Brown or you become a really good player again. More times than not, it goes to a really good player. The Antonio Brown situation is a little more the rarity and the exception to the exception, not the rule. If you think about it. So, I mean, wherever you
and also, Jair doesn't have anywhere near the amount of CTE that Antonio Brown does. So, let's be honest.
Yeah, come on. He didn't have
we can't
headhunting them.
Yeah, we can't throw out the antics of Antonio Brown without mentioning the fact that Vontaze Burfict pretty much scrambled his brain, dude. Like,
I was gonna say that he was about one flick to the head away from being Chris Benoit.
So I mean, yeah, there's a reference. No, I mean, Jair. I think we'll find Jair signs within probably 2 to 3 weeks. I would not be surprised if it was a team within the North, any one of the three. He's not going to get. I wouldn't be surprised if the contract is nowhere near even what Green Bay offered him and is very incentive laden on a prove-it deal. And if it's a multi-year deal, there's going to be team options and it's going to be a lot of incentives. And because that's the reality Jair Alexander now faces they didn't face before. And we've seen this every time a player gets cut. What player gets cut and goes and gets even more money or the same money than the team he just got cut from?
honestly, I could see the Raiders offering him somewhere in the neighborhood of $15 million a year on a multiple year deal.
What was he getting? Like $20 million,
somewhere around there. Yeah.
Just because I know the Raiders, like they have a history of overpaying for corners that are either past their prime or injury prone, and you know, I could see it happening.
But still, that's still markedly less than what Green Bay was paying him or offering him. So the point being is he's going to have to take less money now, and this is part of the game.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
And the Raiders paid him. Let's say they gave him a 3-year contract at $15 million a year. I wouldn't be terribly upset.
No, I think there'd be some protections in there. And now Jair's going to have to look. Jair's going to have to put up with stuff in the contract that he would not have had to put up with had he stayed in Green Bay. There are going to be outs. There are going to be protection clauses. There are going to be incentives. There's going to be all this stuff that he did not want Green Bay.
Snap clauses.
Yeah.
Like if you play 60% of the snaps, 70%, something like that.
Yep. There's going to be a lot of that in this next contract. It's worse, probably worse than what Green Bay offered. And he did a Dan Gamble, and like Dan Gamble, he lost. So now some other team is going to benefit. And he's going to lose.
It remains to be seen. Let's see if he's healthy. If he's healthy, then yes, another team is definitely going to benefit. And I think the Commanders are actually, because they were already linked to him via trade last season.
Yep.
Commanders, I think there's actual smoke there where that could be a team that he could be interested in going to.
Yeah, I think, like I said, the three divisions I think he looks at that he wants to go to first because they all play Green Bay this year are the North, the East, and the AFC North. And all three places, divisions, he's got multiple teams, at least 3 per division, that probably have a shot at getting him into the playoffs, which is probably what he wants as well.
Mm-hmm.
And on that,
could you imagine him going to Baltimore? Cool.
Nicholas is going to puff pass.
Dude, him going to Baltimore would be ridiculous, dude.
Look, I think Baltimore, Pittsburgh, even like Ken said, or who was it? Cleveland? Was that you, Joe? Cleveland?
That was Joe.
Cleveland. I mean, yeah. I mean, any one of those teams over there in the AFC North. Ooh, I mean, he kind of legitimizes Cincinnati's defense a lot. If he goes there, if he's healthy, even if he only plays half the and he improves anywhere he goes. It just comes down to the money. And if you
Let's
go,
just say, for the sake of argument, like that Shedeur Sanders works his way up depth chart in Cleveland this offseason, and he ends up being their starter, right? If they go get Jair, with that defense, if he can just simply game manage, if he can pull a Sam Darnold from last year, like, does anybody not see the playoffs? Like, he doesn't even have to be good. He just has to not be bad. That's all.
Yeah, but here's a problem though. Shedeur Sanders is all I got to be the man kind of attitude. So guess what? We know he can't. There's no channeling his inner neck beard. He can't do that. That's a skill he does not possess.
Well,
He learned it, but I don't think he will. Honestly, I don't think he will. But I mean, Alexander going there would definitely make the Brownies better. I mean, look at this. This was shocking news this morning to wake up to see Jair Alexander was cut.
Oh, I definitely wasn't expecting that.
If it's me, I'm on the phone with Buffalo, though, because Buffalo is like, after the year they had last year, like, and Kansas City finally has some chinks in the armor, like, where you're wondering if Kansas City is even going to make the playoffs this year. Buffalo has to be a strong contender, dude.
Let me ask this, because we've got about 3 minutes left or so, 3-4 minutes left. Let me ask this really quick. Ken, how long do you think it takes Jair to find a new team?
A week.
Time frame. A week. Joe, what do you think? A week or less or more?
Yeah, it's a week.
Today is Monday. I say by Friday he's on a new team.
Or at least we have like they're working on the contract details. He might not have signed the contract yet, but I think they'll have the parameters of the contract in place by Friday.
Well, now that we say all this, it'll be announced in a couple hours. He just signed with Minnesota.
Dude, that's I mean, look, he could sign today. Yeah, I mean, look how quick that happened last year. I mean, of course, that was during free agent frenzy, so a little bit different. But look, if I'm Alexander, though, I don't have to rush because you got to figure there's about 20 NFL football teams calling his agent right now, going, so what's the price? And out of those 20, about half will bow out right away because either they don't want to pay the money and they already have a good situation, i.e. the Bears, or they'll say, well, we're flexible. What do you want? Because he wants to stay within the division and hurt the Packers. That could happen too. Guy might take a discount to play against the Packers. That's what gets weird with these types of situations when the guy just really has beef with the team he left. They're willing to take stupid discounts, which once again makes no sense because you were leaving because you weren't going to make enough money, but now you're going to take a huge, massive discount to go to a rival team. Like, I mean, look, as a rival team, you're like, great. But you're like scratching your head going, dude, you want $30 million a year, but now you're willing to take 10 just to play Green Bay twice a year? Okay, whatever. It just doesn't make sense to me. We'll see what happens.
The worst part is I think the incentives there in the contract that we were offering would have put him right back at his regular number if he hit the incentives. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's going to be fun to watch. And, of course, it kind of totally obliterated the Nick Chubb going to the Texans thing, but that's a good sign for the Texans. Look, they're going to be good down there in the AFC South. That's probably their division to lose. We'll see what he does down there, see if he stays healthy. I mean, I think he will. I think he'll be relatively healthy. He doesn't – I mean, look at – I don't mind guys missing a game or two. It happens all the time. A lot of players. They miss a game or two.
We're going to say a game or two I don't mind. And even if you get injured for the majority of the year, 1 year, I'm not going to bitch. It happens. But when it's multiple years, I can see the frustrating part of it, like with Alexander, like with Bakhtiari.
Yeah, but like with